So actually Professor Devkar's question and SP's discussion, these two were very complementary because we call it mikpa jashiwala mikpa, meaning it's a really because of the view. Actually, it is because of the view. Different kind of attitude also arise because of the view. In the Charvakayana, distinctions between the samsara and the nirvana is much more sort of solid, if you like. Whereas in the Mahayana, it's a bit like moisture and water. They are neither one nor sort of different. But you cannot really separate moisture from water. There is no water without, if you extract all the moisture, the water is gone. So, when a bodhisattva look at a sentient being, a kilo of a sentient being is a kilo of a Buddha. Basically, that's what we are talking about. Half a kilo of a emotion is a half a kilo of wisdom. Now, I'm talking slightly more tantric way, but not necessarily. Even in the Mahayana, the standard Mahayana Sutra does have that. Actually, it will come here. And this is very interesting. It will come maybe in the second chapter. What do you call it? What is the term? The caste in Indian caste? Varna, jati. What is jati? What does that mean? Birth. I think, okay. Sort of, you're the heir, right? The species I like the word species. This is really beautiful in the ritual of the Bodhisattva, bodhicitta taking ceremony. There is that. Caste duties, right? Swadharma, right? Caste duties. And once when we reach to the Mahayana, people like Shantideva would say, the moment you have this wish to enlighten all sentient beings, moment you have the bodhicitta, you become, remember earlier in the stanza, you become the heir of the Buddha. So, you have become Buddha, species, you are the Buddha species. So, this is how the Bodhisattva look at you. This is the, sort of, the species. This is the Buddha species. And in fact, then, around the second chapter of this text, you say, okay, so now, this is your caste. So what is your swadharma? Caste duty. Your caste duty is the bodhisattva path. That's how it is introduced. Yes, Suresh, I can see some trouble here. Suresh? Okay. You forgot? Okay. So let me go through a little bit more. Yeah? Okay.
I think when they say child of the Buddha, they probably mean it in the sense of what we call gharana, parampara, isn't it? I think that's the sense in which it is used. We have this parampara, we have the gharana. Gharana is, of course, I think comes from the word house. I think, Asha, you can explain that better. I don't know much about it. But so parampara is like tradition,
Yes.
A lineage of tradition, right? A lineage of a certain tradition, right? And the gharana is the people who dwell in that same environment, maybe? Yeah? So I think that's I think to me it seems that is the sense in which the child of the Buddha is used, I think, in the Sanskrit. But somebody who's a Sanskrit scholar could probably tell you better.
Okay, I can't really sort of sync with your English stanzas. Anyway, we do talk about Sabadharma, caste duty. And everyone is one caste, basically. Buddha caste. So the earlier Professor Devka's question, actually, and discussion with SP, is because of that. Wish to enlighten all sentient beings is not a baseless endeavor. It is very much doable. It is not abstract. Enlightening all sentient beings is much, much, much more easy than achieving world peace or having a safe and sound environment. Much more. We can go on asking why and all that, maybe tomorrow. But if I just go through a bit of stanzas. All other virtue are like a banana tree. Is it translated as banana tree? Yeah? What? Yeah. A fruit bears fruit and then that's it. It extincts. Whereas the bodhicitta and the virtue of coming with a bodhicitta bears fruit endlessly, like a wish-fulfilling tree. Bodhicitta is also like the reliable protector. Even though we may have done so many negative things, if suddenly we find bodhicitta, we can rest assured and not panic, basically. Bodhicitta is like this huge, giant fire. Instantly, it can consume all the karma and karmic consequences. There are many benefits of the bodhicitta, which is explained in the sutras, discussion between Maitreya and Manibhadra. So, this profound bodhicitta for the sake of discussion, we can categorize into two. Aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. Now I should clarify this a little bit more. Actually, if I categorize the bodhicitta, we have to categorize ultimate bodhicitta and the relative bodhicitta. But the ultimate bodhicitta comes on the 9th chapter, obviously, when we talk about emptiness. Here, from the chapter 1, we have extensive teachings on relative bodhicitta. So within the relative bodhicitta, there is aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. Difference between these two bodhicitta is one is mere wish and the other is action that is accompanied with this wish. So a wise must understood. Between these two relative bodhicitta, there is many difference of mainly the difference of power. Aspiration bodhicitta bear a lot of fruit, but application bodhicitta bears fruit endlessly. From the time an ignorant being like us wish to liberate limitless sentient beings, from the time we take this kind of pledge wholeheartedly and genuinely, from then on, if the person is distracted or in coma or in sleep, the merit of such wish flourishes as limitless as sky. This is thoroughly explained in other sutras by the Buddha himself. Okay. In a way, pledging, genuinely pledging to liberate all sentient beings is like a vow. A vow is a discipline. A vow also is like a vessel to multiply our merit and virtuous action. I'll give you an example. For instance, in our mundane life, we don't go on killing anyone. We don't do that. Like you and me, we don't go and kill. But we don't also necessarily collect any merit. We are not killing just because we are lazy or because we are incapable or we just, why would we do that? But if we take a vow not to kill, then even when you sleep, when you are not really killing as you used to, but then even that mundane, insignificant action actually collects merit. Now, if you make a big pledge, like wishing to enlighten all the sentient beings, then this is a very big vow. So this is what Shantideva is saying, that if we wish to liberate beings from mundane pain such as headache, we have incredible amount of merit. Even with this limited thought. But if we have amazingly limitless thought, such as liberating all sentient beings from all sorts of suffering and the cause of the suffering, what is necessary to explain the benefit of such thoughts and actions? Next stanza. Again, insinuation is maybe not the right word, but there's a, like worldly dharmas, sort of, like it is considered right thing to do, to obey your parents, your elders. Of course, this culture is very big in places like Confucius, China. But here, Shantideva is making us a remark. Even your father and mother, do they have such kind of grand thought to liberate all sentient beings? Yes, they may love you, they may be tender, they may be kind and compassionate towards you, only you, but they don't have the wish to enlighten all the sentient beings. Even the most respectable parents, they don't have. And then the next one, probably making a bit of a remark on deities such as Indras, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, like even those gods, do they have this wish to enlighten all sentient beings? These beings, like your parents, all these gods and semi-gods, they may have not even dreamt such kind of wholesome thought. They may have not even dreamt to liberate themselves from the samsara, let alone liberate all sentient beings from the samsara. So, this wish to liberate all sentient beings, when it comes to you, when it arises, it is an amazing, it is something that is extraordinary and special. A mere wish to benefit beings is praised by the Buddha as even more powerful than making offerings to all the Buddhas. Here, the bodhicitta is a wish to liberate all beings from the suffering and place them with liberation, the bliss of liberation. What necessity is there to explain the power of such thought? Thank you. All sentient beings wishes to abandon suffering, yet they rush to the cause of the suffering. All sentient beings wishes to be happy, but because of their ignorance, they are totally alienated from the cause of the happiness. Sentient beings are therefore deprived from the happiness and the cause of the happiness. They are stained by the cause of the suffering, and they are tormented by endless suffering. Bodhicitta, mind of this special mind, the mind of the enlightened mind, or the bodhicitta, wishes to quench the thirst of these beings, liberate suffering from these beings, liberate these beings from the suffering and the cause of the suffering. There is no greater virtue than the bodhicitta. There is no greater master or a spiritual companion than a bodhicitta. There is no greater merit than the bodhicitta. In the ordinary world, we consider people who reciprocate someone else's kindness and generosity as a decent human being. A bodhisattva, even without other any sort of reason or cause, voluntarily the bodhisattva acts for the benefit of the beings. Therefore, the bodhisattva who has such a bodhicitta has immeasurable merit and power. Okay, once again, I'm going to draw your attention to the bodhicitta, especially in connection with wisdom that is mainly explained in the 9th chapter. Because as we hear the benefit of the bodhicitta, such as what you have heard, and tomorrow there is much more to come, danger is we may end up thinking bodhicitta as a mere sympathy. And I have to stress this. This is never the case. Having said that, okay, so you see what I have said is the actual bodhicitta is the compassion and the wisdom together, right? And when we talk about the wisdom, we are talking about emptiness. So now, a young bodhisattva who just entered into this bodhisattva sphere, who has no background, but he or she is so attracted to this path of the warriorship. But we know that to get accustomed to concept like emptiness, even intellectually, is difficult. So for them, we have to start with something. So of course we start with love and compassion. But does that really qualify the complete bodhicitta? I've been saying no, right? So now, how do we qualify? How do we make this young bodhisattva's bodhicitta qualify to be actual bodhicitta? This is why the concept of wishing enlightenment to all sentient beings. There's two elements that you should notice. You are not just giving them food and shelter. You are giving them enlightenment. You are wishing. You are aspiring to give them enlightenment. That's one element. What is enlightenment? Then again, enlightenment is actualization of non-duality. That is enlightenment, right? In Mahayana Buddhism, in Buddhism, enlightenment is not a place to go. It is a total disappearance of delusion. Where does the delusion come from? Clinging to dualistic phenomena. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is this all sentient beings. Not just your parents, not just your children, not just your neighbor and countryman, but all sentient beings, including Donald Rumsfeld, I don't know, Chindambaram, is it? Modi, Rahul, everyone, not just these beggars in the street who obviously needs your attention, but equal to the beggar who is begging here, we have wished to enlighten even guys like Obama. So all sentient beings, what does this do? This all infinite sentient beings, the concept of all and infinite is complementary to non-duality. Because words like all, infinite, is very vague. So for this reason, if you, let's say, so practically, just to end today's, if you wish a particular being to be free from suffering and place him or her as to the state of enlightenment, it's not really the bodhicitta. You can do that. So let's say you have a neighbor who is dying or is sick. You can wish him or her, his or her welfare, well-being, good health. But through that power of this good wish, may it cause enlightenment. Now this is what makes a bodhicitta complete. But yes, I know, until you have a proper grip on emptiness and so on and so forth, bodhicitta for the time being is a little bit, abstract for some people. But nevertheless, this limitless attitude is a very unique thing in the Mahayana. So, we will stop here today, maybe 2 or 3 questions, and then...
So, Rinpoche, just final. Then, do we simply talking about a process and not of a result when we are talking about the bodhicitta? Because it will sort of continue forever, so it will always be a process, and not like arahathul, which is kind of a we can say it's a kind of a result where it ends, but on the contrary, the
Right.
process, it will be a continuous process, simply a process. We're not thinking of result.
Yeah. See, the thing is, the Mahayana people don't really believe that there's something called forever. Also, forever is a concept, right? Because when we talk about forever, we usually think in terms of something for long, long, long time. That's about all we can think of. Okay, to answer this question, I'll tell you this. Towards the end of the Prajnaparamita Sutra, there's a discussion between the Bodhisattva and the Buddha. And this Bodhisattva comes and he said, he's just so tired. He can't do anything. He can't do this Bodhisattva business anymore because it's like, for so many lifetimes he has been, practicing bodhicitta, and there's so much hardship, even just to liberate one sentient being. The limitless amount of the emotion of this one sentient being alone is exhausting him. So, Buddha gave this example. Let's say a mother lost his child, a child who was, caught by flood, something like that, big river. Oh, actually, a mother who dreamt that her child is drowned or carried by a current, a very strong current river. She will do everything to save this child. And in the process of saving this child, every second feels like hours and years. And when the mother wakes up, child is in her arm, peacefully sleeping. This is how things are. And the other example that Buddha gave was from the time a being took a bodhisattva vow, and he goes through all this bodhisattva training, and at last he reached what we call the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva. That's a really long time, something like almost 3 countless eons. And the Bodhisattva, the one who is asking, the Buddha, complaining about how long it is, Buddha said, on the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva, when the Bodhisattva reach on the 10th Bhumi, the duration of 3 countless eons is as short as a spark coming from a fire, and the duration of that. So time is a total relative. So yes, it is a process, as it is a path, but duration, time, continuity, all this in reality does not exist. So it's very much the path of really combining the wisdom and the actual discipline again and again. Am I answering your question?
Thank you.
Okay.
Poche, I want to ask, is Buddha nature synonymous to emptiness?
Yes, you can say that, especially in the Mahayana Buddhism. Not in, I don't think the Tathagata Garbha term is popular. I mean, it's not that available in the Theravada.
Thank you.
Okay.
Rinpoche, earlier you said that when I want to do something virtuous, my mind wants to do something non-virtuous. So where do you draw the line between I and my mind?
Oh no, I mean what I'm saying is we are so accustomed to, we feel so comfortable, non-virtuous or not only non-virtuous, distracting thoughts. It's so, it's so difficult to burn an incense, let's say. But it's so easy to get into Facebook, even though probably the effort is almost similar. It's like that. It's just so easy to get into these things. That's Shantadev was just saying that, look, we are so, it's so difficult for us to move our whole being to do something good. Yet we do anything that is not so wholesome, kind of comfortably and automatically. And so then you may think, okay, how can we ever get out of this? The force of negativity, force of materialism, force of distraction is so strong. How can we ever get out of this? And Shantadeva's answer is the bodhicitta. So the only bodhicitta can do this. Because there are many reasons which will come. Bodhicitta is also very soothing. Any other discipline will become a pain. It becomes sort of a routine thing to do. We are not saying that you should not do those things, but that bodhicitta must accompany. Like Asanga's mother. Asanga is a very, very big figure, okay? Very, very big in Buddhism, in Mahayana Buddhism. So big. It's because of him. The legacy of Asanga is, like Zen Buddhism, the China, Chan, all of that came from him. Where is Asanga from? SB, do you know? Yeah, but which part? Pakistan? Well, anyway, Vasubandhu, his brother is from Pakistan. Like his mother, she was a nun. She disrobed. That act of disrobing is a very, not only culturally in India, 2,000 years, maybe not, 2,000 years ago, India, disrobe. She actually kind of flirted with a prince. And she gave up her robe because she wanted to have a son to benefit Mahayana Buddha Dharma. From the Mahayana point of view, that act of disrobing is such an amazing thing. Conventionally, she has violated, disrobing, immoral, impure. Not just that, she actually jilted that prince and then she flirted with a Brahmin and then bore Vasubandhu, who became another great master who, if not for him, many of the Buddhist Shastras are lost. And her motivation was being a woman in ancient India, male-dominating society. She sees the situation of Buddhism and she just wanted to do something. And she thought, okay, I'm going to bear children. I will have son and I'm going to make them work for Buddha Dharma. And they did. They really, see, aspiration, power of aspiration is just so strong. Her aspiration and her effect of her aspiration still continues today. Many followers of the Chan, in Japan, Korea. It's all because of her. Thank goodness she disrobed. So on this note, we should go and make merry in this partially Lala land. This is a very special place, you know. Very academic, very intelligent, and also produce some controversial figure. If you have time, probably you should go and visit Osho, Rajneshpuram, Osho bookstore. You can't really go inside, right? But if they participate, then they can, right? You can always participate, yeah. 375 AD. Where did you find that? Google. Okay. Okay. Let's end here.